Alright, welcome back to another tutorial. Tutorial number 2, where we go and find a place to start a base. One of the most important things is that we get iron and that we get cobalt. Now, iron, nickel, and cobalt will often show up together, although this is Pertam, so things are a little different. So I'm not really sure. So we're going to go fly around and I'm going to look at the map from like this perspective, and hopefully I will be able to see ore patches. We know that there's one over there, so maybe we'll go over there and see if there's anything else over there. So in order to do all this, we need to turn on the ore detector because we want to detect the ore. Turn on our thrusters. We're gonna turn off auto lock, and we're gonna unlock. We're gonna push up. Okay, so that's the C key to go up. Now when I'm flying, what I tend to do is use, like, especially when I can't rotate, like when you're on a planet, is I use the WASD keys and then I use the arrow keys. I don't use the mouse for turning, because if I use the mouse for turning, things get all like wonky, they go sideways and stuff. So we're gonna fly over here. I'm gonna turn off the reverse thrust so that we can just coast forward. Otherwise, the inertial dampeners will try and stop us, and we'll constantly be fighting it and wasting power. Which one? Did I get the right one? Oh no, I got the wrong one. The wrong one is my reverse thrust. Okay, so let's set her down and let's fix that. Let's turn that on. Right, so let's set her down. I don't know how I didn't destroy everything. Let's lock, turn them off.
Fuel critical.
Yeah, right. So I'm gonna take this apart for a second. I need that tube. Put it in here. Now I can go over here and get hydrogen. And health and energy and all that, but the health and energy I can get anyways. Okay. So let's grind that back down and get our large steel tube back. Put it back in here. Okay, now we can fly again. Okay. So, I don't know if we're going to see stuff or not. I hope we do. Oh, I got to turn my... Darn it! So, we have to label these properly. So this is not reverse. That's reverse. This is just whatever. This is forward. Forward. This one is reverse. Okay, so let's go back to here and let's get the reverse one. Put it. Oh, I can't put it in there until we've fixed it. Okay, so you can't put things in the menu until you've welded them up. Let's take that reverse thruster and put it on off here. Okay, so we're turning on our thrust, we're unlocking, taking off, and we are flying forwards with that reverse thrust off. So now it should take less power. So I guess one of the reasons Pertam is a harder start is because the ore is not as predictable. There, that is nickel. Okay. Let's turn that on. So that's nickel. So that's nice to know where the nickel is. So let's go back. Boy, we do not fly well with this thing. It is super underpowered. Hard to fly on this planet too. The atmosphere is so thin that you really need those two up thrusters. This is where the actual spot is marked on the map. So we're going to make a GPS here. See if we can find anything else while we're flying around. This would be a lot easier in the daytime, but we don't have a lot of choices because this is a server. And if we can't get ourselves some power before our survival kit, before our battery on our survival pod runs out, things are going to go poorly for us. We're going to have to restart. One of the things I would like to do today is get that done. I mean, it would be perfect to find some cobalt, but, you know, iron is the most essential thing to start with. I don't actually have to have cobalt in order to start setting things up. Because I can't see anything, it's night out. I don't want to spend a ton of time looking around. We're gonna sit down here. This is gonna be where we do our start. If it wasn't a server, wasn't nighttime, maybe we'd look around some more, but it is a server and it is nighttime, so let's just set her down. We need to get ourselves a source of power that's reliable. We can use a wind turbine, or we can use solar panels. Wind turbine is probably the best way to go, just because it's the simplest. It gives you constant power. Most starts are done with wind turbines. So this needs to be hooked to the wind turbine so that it doesn't lose power. I'm going to grab a block here. R shifts between small grid and large grid. And just start laying some blocks out here. You can lay a block with a steel plate. It doesn't cost more than a steel plate to lay a block. And my preference would be to have things a little lower, but the game isn't going to let me do that. In order to place the block lower, I would have to dig a hole and place the block in the hole. I'm not really interested in doing that right now, so we're just going to deal with this. I'm just going to lay blocks out here. I'm going to need to connect this somehow. So the way I'm going to do that, by putting a block there, and now if you look at connectors, the connecting block, they're kind of expensive. They take a lot of stuff, so it's going to be hard to get that. So there are other ways to connect things. You can use a rotor. This is a small grid, large grid connection, so this is a space engineer's thing. So we have large grid blocks, these here, and we have small grid blocks, these here. See how that's small? These are a fifth of the size of this one. And you can't attach small grid blocks to large grid blocks. They don't go together. So you have to use an adapter. In Space Engineers, there are three main kinds of objects. There are voxels, so this dirt, these are voxels. That's a game construct. And we have two kinds of grids. We have static grids, so grids that can't move. Anytime you place a grid, which is a block here, anytime you place a grid in the voxel, it's static. and can't be moved unless you convert it. This grid is a mobile grid, and it can be moved around. So we have voxels, static grids, mobile grids. Different sizes of grids can't be joined together with a normal game, so you have to use a connection that allows them to stay as separate grids, and that's what we're going to do with our rotor. We're going to put a rotor on here. We need a 3x3 rotor because it's just better for doing this kind of connection. So we're going to put a rotor here. Rotors have a rotor part, so this is the other grid. So this block here, it's effectively a block, is part of this grid. And this is a whole separate grid. We're going to remove it because it's small grid and we need to attach to the large grid next to us. The way we do that is by putting a rotor part on here. I'm just looking at things. I'm going, you know, this isn't going to fit. It's not going to fit because it's going to be too it's going to be too low. Well, it would fit if we took off the landing gear, then it would fit. So we have two options here because of the size. So we got one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's 5 blocks. That's a large grid, so it's right in the middle. When we put the rotor part on here, that's going to be right in the middle, so there's no room for this landing gear to stick out the bottom. So we can either cut them off, or we can let the survival pod hang from the rotor, which is actually what we're going to do. So let's put some settings on the rotor first. The rotor, they automatically can spin freely. So if they don't have power on, they will do that. If they don't have braking torque, they will do that. So we're going to put the braking torque up so that it's not likely to spin. And we are going to lock it so it can't move. Okay. So do we have what we need to build that? Probably not. Oh yeah, we can just build it. That is freaking awesome. Okay, so we need a rotor part. So we need an advanced rotor part. Advanced rotors allow you to transfer materials. And my preference would be that that's a cargo container and not simply a block. I can't build the cargo container because I don't have the grids, but eventually that's what I want it to be. So I'm going to put one there now in the hopes that I'll find cobalt and be able to build it. So let's put the advanced rotor part on. And we don't even need to be able to complete that for this to work. Now to get power, we need to build a wind turbine. And I'm going to do that up here. So it'll get better. It'll be more effective up high. Now I'm going to add catwalks here. Stairs. And catwalks. Because I want to be able to climb up there. No, can I place these? I guess I can. Can I place the stairs? Yeah, I can. Okay, so stairs here. And we need to have some catwalks. Okay, let's put some stairs. I'm not building these blocks, so they don't require a lot of components. They just require one to place them. They still weigh as much as a regular block, but they don't have the same damage resistance potential as they would if they were completely built. So I'm doing this right here because it's difficult to place a wind turbine. You need more space because it's a 3x3 placement. So you can't stand in the place where you're placing it. So I have to build all this so that I can come out here and put the wind turbine up here. Wind turbines need girders. I should be able to build all this stuff I don't have, so let's see. Need 24 girders and 16 interior plates. So let's see what we can do about that. Can we build that? Oh. I can't just put it to production, can I? Or maybe here. What couldn't I put to production? Oh, because I still have this in here, so put the other stuff to production. So let's see. Looks like we have what we need to build it all. That is freaking great. Okay. We are cooking. Can I not get stuff out of there? I can't get stuff out. Okay, so I can't do this because I can't get things out. So I have to take this off. And I have to put a cargo container on here so I can get at it. So I'm just going to put a medium cargo container on here. I guess that's in the way. Interior plate. Okay. Well. Okay. So we'll build you a rotor. Can we put a rotor back on? Yeah. Okay. Okay, we're gonna build those parts. We gotta be running out by now of leadstone that we dug up. Okay, it says we have all the components. Alright, now let's put this on the hotbar. So let's say the rotor. Okay. Rotor. Attach, detach, attach, rotor, detach. Okay, so we need to get our survival pod hooked up to that rotor there so that we can draw power from the wind turbine we haven't yet built. So let's turn on the thrusters, unlock, fly up a little bit. You can see that the rotor part can go through other parts. That's intentional. The game did that on purpose. They don't have collision boxes. Okay, so when I attach this, I will need to immediately turn off my thrusters, because otherwise the grid will try and tear itself away from the other grid because we have our inertial dampeners on. So I'm going to attach, off. That's awesome. That worked out great. Okay, let's turn on the orc detector. Since we have power now, we might as well turn it on. Oh, and we have nickel and silicon right here. That's nice. Okay, that's really nice. I didn't realize that. Alright, so let's finish that wind turbine. Our handy-dandy staircase. Let's get our girders. Let's make them. We have what we need. We do not. We almost have what we need. We'll see how functional this will be without those. Maybe I don't need to build all that to get it to work. We'll see. Well, let's see. Oh, it's functional. Okay, awesome. So, that's great. Let's go check out how the wind turbine is doing from the menu. Turbine. Clearance is good. It's not optimal, but it's good. So it's making this much. It could be making that much if I'd made it higher, but that's okay. This is good enough for now. Okay, so we have established power. So let's get our, we don't need this gyro because I'm not going anywhere right now. So let's get that large steel tube back because we want to be able to fly if possible. Now, we don't have any ice, so when that ice runs out, we're not going to be able to fly. So we're going to have to do something about that, but we got power. Thank you for joining me for another Space Engineers tutorial. Next time, we're going to work on getting resources. We need to have an assembler. We need to have a refinery, like large grid assembler, large grid refinery. We need a system for collecting resources that does not involve hand drilling and dumping that into the survival kit. So we're going to work on all of that next time. I hope you can join me for the next episode. We work on a collector mine and get the resources necessary to start upping our production base so that we can build things in earnest.